Hello, Western Civ 104. Welcome to week 2. I just want to say that most of you are all doing great, and I'll do my best to start getting grading on the Sunday papers. As I always mention, just try to write to me, communicate with me. I apologize that I was late with some of the responses. Keep in mind that I'm going to be a 14-hour difference than you until Thursday. And so, but yeah, as you're seeing, I'm pretty flexible. I want to remind many of you again that I sent a letter out, and I mentioned things about writing the paper on Sundays and other things. So, and many of you didn't read it or forgot about it or something. So always follow what I'm sending you. Okay. I also want to mention that this week is going to be, it's probably my only week that I can think of like this for now, that's a little controversial and kind of hard to, it's not going to sit right with some of you. You're going to love it. Okay, so let me back up for a second. Without really going into details about my own personal beliefs and life, I grew up in the Central Valley and in very religious household, and both sides of my family are religious households. One has become less, but the other one's kind of doubled down. So, and I've had a strong education in this area of religion, and so I'm also aware of what it feels like to be a person of faith, and you come into the school and we do something like history, like Western civilization, and then the information, it questions the history of the Bible, something like that. This is not what you expected. This is not what you came here for, right? Okay, so I get how you're going to feel looking this way. But I just want to make something very clear. You participating in this week's work doesn't mean you believe in anything, all right? You're learning what the consensus view of historians, secular historians, non-religious historians, are thinking, are what they believe to be the history of ancient Israel and the Hebrews, okay? And so I also want you to know that it's not a conspiracy, okay? So, I talk about this in some of my lectures. You take something like Troy, the history of Troy, and some of the Greek writings. If historians start to say, well, were some of the characters real, or did it really happen at this time, or did it happen in this way? It doesn't seem like a conspiracy, right? Because majority of people in the world are not invested in that being real. It's not personal. But with the Bible, for many people, the Bible being literal history the way it's told is something that can't be disrupted, or it kind of throws off the whole system. And so that's what's happening here. So, but the historians and the archaeologists, keep in mind that most of them that got interested in doing archaeology or history of ancient Israel had a religious reason. Not all of them, but they're interested in the subject not to be a conspiracy against it. And many theologians, I know this, many pastors and priests, actually believe a lot of this stuff. I mean, there's different interpretations that people have. Some believe that the divine, that the stories are divine, they have a divine message, but they're not literal history. Now, this doesn't sit right with others. My point is that there are some people I know who are deeply religious, believe in the Bible, and don't feel the information that you're getting is a threat to their faith. But I know other people who would just not even stay in my class. So, but I have to, I'm teaching you, you need to know this is what secular historians believe in. And here I end with an Israeli historian who's talking about ancient Israel and he's describing several narratives in which that the literal biblical story is being called into question. And he's a mainstream archaeologist. This is not fringe work material. So again, what I'm trying to do is I want you to understand that you're being exposed to this information to understand what modern secular historians and archaeologists are believing, and this does not imply should be no compromise of your faith. And that's all I wanted to say. So I'm acknowledging that, knowing, I know my people, I know my realm. I'm from Modesto, I respect everybody's thoughts and feelings, but you're here to learn, and I'm educating you on a particular subject through this avenue. Okay. Having said that, let me tell you something. Freedom of speech, freedom of academia, of education, wide ranges of views. These are things that we value. Well, look, I'm hoping to get out of Hong Kong with no problems. Yesterday, the protesters tried to shut down the airport, and I understand. And this weekend got really intense. Now, for me, I wasn't a part of all of this. Well, I never was a part of it, but I mean, I went to an island to go see my friends as, I guess, protesters. I saw people blocking the roads, and then there was a major clash with the police and protesters. And it's a lot of protesters feeling that their freedom is under jeopardy here. It's very intense. And things are going, honestly, in a way that is just kind of mind-boggling to me to see. As American, we don't have anything equivalent in protests since 1776, anyways, where our entire society, there's just not a historical equivalent right now, except for 1776, and that's not necessarily what's going on here, but it has that feel. Not everybody's trying to separate. It's not a unified set of beliefs. I'm not really explaining a lot of it to you because that I want you to research. I posted something on the announcement. And as studying Western Civ, what I'm seeing here is a result of when the British colonized, took this land, and then gave it back 150 years later. And yeah, there's some problems, So, and I went up to one of the demonstrators. I stumbled on a demonstration today, and this young kid's got a mask, and he's got the British flag. So I was like, "Hey, bro, can I ask you a question?" I'm like getting ready to leave him, like, 'cause I don't know how safe or I don't know what's going on in this world. But anyway, I said, many people want to know, do you want Hong Kong to be colonized again? I mean, why do you have this flag? And he said, no, some people maybe think that it was better before. I don't know. He said, it's me to say, well, the British were better than what you guys now are doing. Is kind of like, the way he was articulating it was like he was just basically saying, I know it insults the political establishment, so it's kind of like my middle finger to the government to put that up in the air. And I was like, oh, okay. Basically we had a discussion about I started talking to him about, I said, we Americans can't really get along and see things face to face. We're kind of in a weird place right now. And he didn't really follow much of American politics. He didn't have some great grand philosophical scheme about, any kind of political point of views other than just freedom and wanting to be free. And I don't know how old this kid was, but he's very young. And it's kind of heavy for me to just kind of see this and walk away and just be like, hey, bro, good luck. But, I mean, it's right close to the army can be unleashed. They're already having violent clashes with anyway, I can go on and on. I better just stop here. This has been, but forgive me for this being on my mind a lot as I talk to you all. Have a great week, and we'll be in touch. And like I said, contact me if you need anything.